Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi folks, welcome back to the Wild Harvest Report. I'm Adam Berkmans, and this is your monthly Food First Field Bulletin covering what's broadly in season across the United States and Canada, hunting, fishing, and foraging, along with the seasonal shifts that actually matter this time of year. This report covers March of 2026. As always, this is not a substitute for regulations. Seasons, methods, quotas, conservation orders, and access rules vary by state, province, unit, and sometimes even by day. Always confirm details directly with your state wildlife agencies, provincial and territorial ministries, or federal migratory bird and fisheries authorities. March is a transition month. In some places, it's still full winter, while in others, it's the beginning of spring. Migration starts, fish begin to stage, breeding behavior increases. Let's start where winter is starting to loosen up first. So in the southeast, March feels like early spring settling in. Water temperatures are rising steadily, and that's driving activity both inshore and inland. Along the coast, redfish continue working tidal creeks and grass edges, while speckled trout respond well to warming afternoons. Sheepshead remain tight to structure around bridges and pilings, while in freshwater systems, largemouth bass are moving firmly into pre-spawn and spawning phases, deepening on the latitude, and crappie begin pushing shallower as daylight lengthens. In the woods, turkey season opens in parts of the region this month. Gobbling activity increases noticeably, and mornings start carrying sound again. Early scouting and careful setup pay off here. Wild hogs remain consistent in areas where they're established, particularly during cooler hours. Predator movement also increases as coyotes move through their breeding season. Foragers begin to see the first real greens. Chickweed, henbit, wild mustard, and early spring onions appear along field edges and disturbed ground, often in the same places you're scouting for birds. March in the southeast is active and increasingly vocal. Moving on to the deep south, so we're talking Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas kind of area. The patterns hold, but the scale expands. River systems are running higher with spring rains, and warming trends push crappie shallow into reservoirs and backwaters. The catfish remain steady in deeper holes, while Louisiana marsh systems continue producing redfish and black drum in protected waters. Turkey seasons are expanding across much of this region in March, and breeding behavior becomes the dominant rhythm of the woods. At the same time, snow goose conservation seasons are active along portions of the Mississippi Flyway. Large migratory flocks move in north in waves, and conservation frameworks allow expanded harvest methods in many states. Wild hog opportunities remain consistent, and predator calling continues to be productive, where allowed. The deep south in March carries two distinct sounds: gobbling in the timber, and migrating geese overhead. Moving along to the south, so in Texas, Oklahoma kind of area, bring a lot of variability. Cold fronts still roll through, but warm spells follow quickly. On the Texas coast, redfish and speckled trout hold up in deeper channels during cooler stretches and move shallow when conditions stabilize and warm. Inland, bass are firmly in pre-spawn or spawning, depending on water temperature, and catfish remain mostly reliable. This is also, once again, peak snow goose migration through the central flyway. Staging fields fill quickly, and conservation seasons allow extended harvests in many areas. Predator hunting remains active, and wild hogs continue year-round movement. Wind becomes a major factor in this area, both for hunting setups and fishing plans, so plan accordingly. Moving through the southwest, elevation begins to dictate opportunity. Low desert areas warm quickly, while higher elevations remain cold and snow-covered. Tailwater trout fisheries remain productive, and along the southern California coast, surf perch and rockfish seasons continue within regulatory frameworks. Predator seasons stay active across much of this region, and mountain lion seasons operate under quota systems where open. In select western states, spring bear seasons begin opening in the lower elevations later in the month. After rainfall, desert green can emerge briefly, offering short windows for foragers paying attention, so be sure to be paying attention. In the west and the Rockies, March remains winter in much of this area, though lower elevations begin softening. Snowpack still defines access in the high country, and ice fishing tapers in southern portions of the region, while tailwaters remain consistent for trout anglers. Predator hunting continues across much of the Rockies, and spring bear seasons begin opening in certain western units as conditions allow. In lower valleys and agricultural zones, migrating snow geese begin appearing as they push north. Movement here is much more gradual and elevation dependent, so make sure you're checking those things out. Moving north into the Pacific Northwest, March is wet and is beginning to be productive. Steelhead runs remain a central focus in many river systems, while razor clam openings occur as announced by state agencies, so keep your eyes open for that. Oysters and mussels remain strong in cold water conditions. Predator hunting opportunities continue, and spring bear seasons are opening early in certain select units. Foragers begin seeing early nettles in lower elevations, and coastal seaweeds, which remain viable on low tides. The rain tends to drive conditions here much more than temperature, so make sure you pack a raincoat. Getting into the prairies in the Midwest, March is defined more by migration. Snow goose conservation seasons become the dominant hunting story as massive flocks move north through agricultural fields and staging areas. Setups expand in scale, and movement can change daily with wind and thaw cycles. This is a great time once again to be out snow goose hunting. I can't recommend it enough. Ice fishing begins tapering in the southern portions of the region as the thaw progresses. Walleye start staging near river mouths, and current breaks in preparation for spawning, and early open water opportunities appear as the ice deteriorates. So be very careful if you're out there ice fishing. This is the time of year where things go bad quickly. This is the month to watch the sky and the edges of melting water in the Midwest. Moving into the larger northeast region, winter is lingering, but it's beginning to loosen its grip. Ice fishing continues where safe, though stability shifts quickly with warming days, so please be careful. Trout stocking programs begin in some states, and tailwater fisheries do remain active this time of year. Snow goose conservation structures operate along portions of the Atlantic flyway, while predator seasons remain open in many areas. The maple sap run is beginning across parts of the region as the freeze-thaw cycle create the right conditions. The signs of spring show up first in the trees, not in the fields. Taking a look at Hawaii. It continues its steady rhythm. Pelagic fishing remains productive offshore, while reef species stay active and wild pigs and goats remain available year-round. Alaska, on the other hand, holds on to winter much longer. Ice fishing for lake trout and burbot remains active, and predator hunting continues in many of the regions across Alaska. Southern coastal zones begin transitioning as daylight lengthens. Moving up into Canada. March in Canada remains largely winter, though migration begins building in the southern regions. Ice fishing continues strongly across much of Ontario, Quebec, and the Prairie provinces, and walleye, perch, pike, and lake trout remain central targets. Predator seasons stay active in many provinces, and snow geese begin staging in southern prairie agricultural zones as they move north. In select western provinces, spring bear seasons open where regulations allow. Foragers in southern regions begin watching maple sap flow and early bud development in trees, while in the northern zones we remain focused on stored foods and winter harvest. So as a general summary for March, we're looking for early greens and wild onions in the south. Sap season is swelling buds as you move north. Limited new growth and reliance on preserved stores from last year in the far north. Mushroom season has not broadly begun. March cooking reflects the shift outside, so let's do some thoughts about food for this time of year. Snow goose start showing up on cutting boards. Broken down birds, ground trim. Remember, grinding geese is awesome. And sausage experiments. Turkey plans begin forming as seasons begin opening in the south. Freezer meals begin sharing space with fresh greens if you're in the south. Those braises that are great for winter give way to lighter preparations for spring. Pickles, cured meats, and frozen berries bridge winter and spring. This is a transitional kitchen month, using what's left while paying attention to what's arriving. Head over to harvestingnature.com to access some of our incredible wild recipes, like green chili snow goose burgers, Korean snow goose pot stickers, instant pot venison and spring greens with pot liquor, braised duck soupy rice with chopped greens and mushrooms, stewed dandelions with chickpea and andouille, and many more. And that, folks, is your Wild Harvest Report for March. Watch migration, watch thaw lines, watch the woods early in the morning. Confirm your regulations, respect changing conditions, and stay observant. We'll talk again next month as spring settles in.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.